I like cappuccino. I just like to say the word. I really don't like coffee at all, but and once you say it, you have to pay for it. It sounds, vaguely erotic or something, if people don't know what it means. First thing I do is go to the Greenhouse Cafe, and I usually work on a paper for a conference that I'm going to. And if it's decent weather, I frequently go for a bike ride, 20 to 30 miles. Then after that, I just goof off. I've got a racing tricycle which I ride I'm riding that today, in fact, when it gets really icy. The danger of falling is reduced considerably. I've got a folding one that I take on trip. Then I've got the trike. Then I've got my old road bike. I've got the new road bike. And then I've got my old commuter bike, which weighs about 1.5 tons. And then I have a new one coming. Been biking pretty regularly since about 1970. And I do things with friends, go to Madison, go to movies, go to the opera in Milwaukee or Madison or even Chicago. Sometimes go down to conferences in Chicago, usually literary or writing. Often political ones, though there are fewer and fewer of those. I like to read graphic novels. Sometimes I do papers on graphic novels for conferences. Alan Moore is my favorite, sort of a really wild, anarchist, British, grumpy writer, but he's really good. My family was sort of interesting. They were rodeo people. My mother was a bronc rider, and a good one, too. If you go to the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame in Fort Worth, you see a big painting of my mother. I suppose, I'm not sure it's interesting. I'm a Korean War vet, too. I came to the UW here in '66. Of course, that was the period of anti-war activity and, political activism on the part of students. I used to go to Europe every summer. In the last few years, I've gone to Japan, China, Vietnam, back to Korea to see where I was. London, England, I think, is my favorite place. I really, if I had lots of money, right? It's a very expensive city. I taught at Boston U and then in the New York system, and then here. The domination of the media by the right wing has been pretty much the death of responsible journalism. Fox is now what most people think of, right, as the media. I have no advice about anything for anybody, right? Except this. Be very careful about taking advice from people.